In this lecture, I'm going to take you through some words connected with scientific processes. And your 7 words are accelerate, activate, condense, conduct, contaminate, contract, and deplete. Lots of con words in this. Your first word is accelerate. Accelerate. So if something accelerates, it gets faster and faster. Accelerate. Notice the double C here. The first C makes the K sound. The second one makes the S, ax. And there's only one L in accelerate. It's a common spelling mistake. So for example, growth will accelerate to 3% next year. The government will accelerate its privatisation programme. CCTV showed the car accelerating to 200 kilometers per hour. So we can accelerate to and accelerate by. And some noun collocations: accelerate development, accelerate the process. So here are some forms for accelerate: accelerate, accelerating, accelerated. And the noun is acceleration, acceleration. The opposite of accelerate is decelerate, decelerate. And here are some synonyms for accelerate: step up, advance, hasten, increase, quicken, and stimulate. The next word, activate, activate. If something is activated, then it starts, or rather something causes it to start. It's often used with machinery, equipment, and scientific processes, of course. Activate. And you can see at the start, act is a prefix for activate, action, action. So for example, security cameras can be activated by movement. So they can be started by movement. I have a voice-activated computer. Heat activates enzymes. Heat makes enzymes start to move. So you can activate things by, you can activate a system, an alarm. We often talk about activate automatically as well, automatically. So here are some forms: activates, activating, activated. The noun is activation, activation. And the opposite of activate, when you want to stop something, is deactivate, deactivate. And again, the same forms at the end. Deactivation. And some synonyms: trigger, stimulate, initiate, and start. Here's your next word, condense, condense. So when a gas condenses, it turns into liquid. So here you have a pan of meatballs. Some of the water in the pan has turned from a liquid into a gas and condensed on the bottom of the lid. So it's become water again. It's condensed into water. So condense, it's really when a liquid turns into a gas and back into a liquid. So for example, water vapour condenses to form clouds. As air rises, it becomes cooler and the moisture condenses. So you condense into something, into water, condense out of as well. And the forms: condenses, condensing, condensed. And the noun form is condensation, condensation. Here's your next word, conduct. Conduct. By the way, for condense, not many synonyms there. A very specialised word. So conduct. Now this word has lots of different meanings. So for example, a conductor in an orchestra conducts the orchestra. And a researcher carries out research. We often say then a researcher conducts research when they carry out something, like when they do a project. But in science, we use the word conduct for talking about how materials let things pass through them, like heat and electricity. So, for example, these electrical cables. Here are some electrical pylons. The cables let electricity pass through them. So they're conducting electricity. Conduct, and the stress is on the second syllable, conduct. You can say, if it's a noun, conduct. Conduct is the noun. Conduct is the verb. Conduct is to do with behaviour, such as criminal conduct, but I'm going to look at the verb here. So, for example, water conducts heat faster than air. The molecule did not conduct electricity. The scientist is conducting research into a cure for cancer. This third sentence is the more general sense of the word conduct when you're carrying out, when you're doing a project. So we conduct heat, conduct electricity, conduct business. This is the carrying out version of conduct. Conduct research. Some forms now for conduct. Conducts, conducting, conducted. Conduction is one of the noun forms, conduction, and conductivity, conductivity. So metal has high conductivity. Here are some synonyms. So the first three words relate to the kind of moving of things, heat and electricity, the transport side of things. Carry, transport and send. The next three, these are the ones where we're talking about business or research, doing a project. So carry out, handle and administer. Your next word is contaminate. Contaminate. Now, if something is contaminated, it becomes dirty or harmful. So this water is contaminated, maybe with chemicals from a factory. And things can be contaminated by oil, dirt, chemicals, radiation. So, for example, a chemical spill contaminated the river. The river was contaminated by a chemical spill. So the second sentence is the passive form of the first sentence. Here we're going to use contaminate as an adjective. So thousands of people fell ill because of contaminated water. So common collocations, you contaminate water, contaminate the sea, and some prepositions, contaminated by and with, contaminated by chemicals. Here are the forms for contaminate. And the noun form is contamination, contamination. And some synonyms for contaminate: pollute, harm, poison, and infect. Here's your next word, contract. Contract, again contract, like conduct, has lots of different meanings. It can be a noun, contract, which is a legal document, or it can be a verb, contract, which is what I'll look at here because we're looking at scientific processes. Now, when something contracts, it becomes smaller or thinner or shorter. So when metal gets hot, it expands, but when it cools, metal contracts, which is a big problem for railway tracks in hot weather. Here are some more examples. Blood is expelled from the heart when it contracts, so the heart gets smaller. It contracts, pumps the blood out. Metal contracts when it cools. And here's a more general sense beyond science, the Greek economy contracted by 2% last year. It got smaller. So other things can contract as well as metal. So we talk about things that can expand and contract a lot. Muscles contract, like the heart. You contract rhythmically. The heart contracts rhythmically. Contract rapidly. Some forms here: contracts, contracting, contracted. Contraction is the noun. And some synonyms for contract: get smaller, narrow, decrease, decline, shrink. Shrink. Here's your next word: deplete. Deplete. Deplete means you use something up. It literally means you empty something out. You empty out something. You use things up that you have. You deplete a store of something. And deplete means you reduce the amount in this store. So you may deplete your store of food in your kitchen. So it suggests you use something up that you've already got. So, for example, some chemicals deplete the ozone layer. Things like stress, illness, and environmental pollution deplete your energy levels. The Russian central bank's reserves were rapidly depleted during the recent currency crisis. So you often deplete resources, deplete reserves, deplete funds, deplete the ozone layer. And some forms there for deplete: depletes, depleting, depleted. And the noun form is depletion. Depletion. And some synonyms for deplete: consume, empty, use up, diminish, reduce, and drain. So there are your 7 scientific processes words: accelerate, activate, condense, conduct, contaminate, contract, and deplete.